Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Indra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirahe Tato Jayamudirahe Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Kirtama Shloke Bhagavat Kirtama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from the book Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, text number 30. Janma karma cha vishwatman Janma karma cha vishwatman Janma karma cha vishwatman Janma karma cha vishwatman Ajasya karturatmanaha Ajasya karturatmanaha Ajasya karturatmanaha Ajasya karturatmanaha Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tat atyanta vidambanam Tat atyanta vidambanam Tat atyanta vidambanam Tat atyanta vidambanam Janma karma cha vishwatman Janma karma cha vishwatman Ajasya karturatmanaha Ajasya karturatmanaha Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tiryan rishishu yadashu Tat atyanta vidambanam Tat atyanta vidambanam. Anyone would like to recite?
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Ajasya karturatmanaha
Ajasya karturatmanaha
Tiryan rishishu yadashu
Tiryan rishishu yadashu
Tat atyanta vidambanam
Tat atyanta vidambanam.
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Ajasya karturatmanaha
Ajasya karturatmanaha
Tiryan rishishu yadashu
Tiryan rishishu yadashu
Tad atyanta vidambanam
Tad atyanta vidambanam.
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Janma karma cha vishwatman
Adaskartur atmanaha
Ajasya karturatmanaha
Tiryan rishishu yadeshu
Tiryan rishishu yadashu
Tad atyanta vidambanam
Tad atyanta vidambanam. Okay, go to a translation. Translation proper by join with enlarge. Okay, more. Huh? It's okay. But to a translation proper by join with Sabai Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Janma, birth, karma, activity, cha, and Vishwa Atman, O soul of the universe, Ajasya, of the unborn, Akartuhu, of the inactive, Atmanaha, of the vital energy, Tiryak, animal, Dhruv, human being, Rishi, Shu, in the sages, Yada, Shu, in the water, Tat, that, Atyanta, veritable, Vidambanam, bewildering. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, and that you take birth though you are the vital force and unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily this is bewildering. Purport. The transcendental pastimes of the Lord are not only bewildering, but also apparently contradictory. In other words, they are all inconceivable on the limited thinking power of the human being. The Lord is the all-pervading super soul of all existence, and yet He appears in the form of a bull amongst animals, in the form of a human being as Rama, Krishna, etc. Pure devotees, because they are intimately related with Him. The devotee therefore know that although He appears amongst animals, He is not an animal, nor a man, nor a rishi, nor a fish. He is eternally the Supreme Lord in all circumstances. So we have one more shloka also to cover. So no need to repeat. I will recite and then proceed. Gopya dade tvai krita rasidamata vadyate dasashu kalilanjana sambramaksham vakram vini abhayavavanaya stitasya sama vimohayati virapiyad viveti. My dear Krishna, Ashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara off from your eyes. And you are afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me. Here is another explanation of the bewilderment created by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the supreme in all circumstances, is already explained. Here is a specific example of the Lord's being the supreme and at the same time a plaything in the presence of his pure devotee. The Lord's pure devotee renders service unto the Lord out of unalloyed love only, and while discharging such devotional service, the pure devotee forgets the position of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees more relishably when the service is rendered spontaneously out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, but the Lord is meticulously pleased when the devotee, out of pure affection and love, considers the Lord to be less important than himself. The Lord's pastimes in the original abode of Goloka Vrindavana are exchanged in that spirit. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance. The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Similarly, he accepts the reproaches of his fiancés more palatably than the Vedic hymns. When Lord Krishna was present in this material world to manifest his eternal pastimes of the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavana, as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother Yashoda. The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stopped butter of Mother Yashoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavana, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence. Mother Yashoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household. Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yashoda, the Lord bowed down his head and began to weep just like a child. And tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes. This picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother who wanted to punish him just in an ordinary manner. Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not. Therefore, Yashoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's. Mother Yashoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. If Mother Yashoda had been conscious of the exalted position of the Lord, she would certainly have hesitated to punish the Lord, but she was made to forget the situation because the Lord wanted to make a complete gesture of childishness before the affectionate Yashoda. This exchange of love between the mother and the son was performed in a natural way, and Kunti, remembering the scene, was bewildered, and she could do nothing but praise the transcendental maternal love. Indirectly, Mother Yashoda is praised for her unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Thank you so much for attending today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Welcome you all for this Sunday first morning Bhagavatam class. And very happy to be among all of you after quite some time. So it's always energetic to be among the young and bachelors, unmarried boys and brahmachari ashram. So I can remember always whenever I see all of you, I can remember my olden days. Olden days are always golden days. But of course, in devotional service every day is festival. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam tadeva shashvat manaso mahotsavam tadeva shoka navashoshanam vrinam yaduttama shloka yashonagiyate. One who engages in glorifying the Supreme Lord, so every day is a festival. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam navam. Every day one experience newer and newer taste. So now you may say we are not experiencing Prabhuji any newer and newer taste. Yes, it takes time. No? It takes time. Ruchiram navam navam. But I can say every day we can experience newer and newer taste. That's how spiritual world is made up of. Krishna is making devotees to taste everything new every day. Otherwise, why would devotees are performing devotional service? Ruchiram navam navam tadeva shashvat manaso mahotsavam. So of course I didn't plan this well, but spontaneously after seeing all of you it came. So manaso mahotsavam. Actually our minds are fully filled with poison. Every day they are frustrated, filled with because of poison. But in spiritual world, mahotsavam. So of course ISKCON temples have their oasis in this poisonous world. So we can experience that also. Mahotsav, great festival. So great festival. Of course you want to celebrate a great festival, Janmashtami is coming. So but we need to be involved in the festival. But it's a great festival not for external body but also for mind. Manaso Mahotsava. Tadeva Shashvan. Manaso Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam Tadeva Shashvan Manaso Mahotsava. Tadeva Shoka Nava Shoshanam Runam. Shoka Arnava. This material world is full of miseries, ocean of miseries. Of course, devotee doesn't want to come out of these miseries. That's why you don't pray to Krishna. Oh Krishna, please take me out of the miseries. Pure devotees. So, but the concomitant factor or the secondary effect of pure devotional service is automatically that is taken care. That's why Rupa Goswami says, Kleshadni Shubhada. Means it's all auspicious, all the kleshas will go without even knowing, without even we asking. That's why devotees are not interested in asking. Then, Yaduttama Shloka Yashonendiyate. Uttama Shloka is Krishna. So when we glorify Krishna, so that is how so potent. So if you want to enjoy festival every day, all of us are busy now with Janmashtami festival. We have been planning from almost 1 month to celebrate one program in this AECS layout. It took a lot of effort. But when you participate in that, what you will get? You will definitely feel that it's a great festival. Like we conduct Bhakti Vriksha sessions also. The new people will come. Prabhuji, so I am so absorbed. So like recently we went for a donation collection and one Mataji was, for the first time she participated and she said, we want to go. We winded up. But she was continuing out of her own interest. So that happens, especially in the initial stages it happens. So, okay, so I think all of you are laughing with something. So especially Krishna gives that attraction in the beginning, and because that Krishna wants to attract. In this purport also Krishna was telling that. But as we progress, then we need to put some more effort to get that same thing. Okay, that's so wonderful. Krishna consciousness is a great festival. Everyday festival. You know, recently that Prabhu was telling, right? Every day is a festival means literally every day is a festival. All of you remember he was telling about every day. So I never thought about it, but I was taking it in a literal sense, but he has literally proved it. Yeah, true. So Bhagavatam is a really nectarian. Really nectarian. So if you see these two verses also, actually if you have to speak about these verses, every word what Srila Prabhupada is taking, I can guarantee say 1 hour is not sufficient. That much information, I mean to say, that much devotion is embedded in these two verses. But यस्यावै श्रूयमानायां कृष्णे परमपुरुषे भक्तिरुत्पद्यते पुंसां शोकमोह भयापः. Simply we need to, what we need to do? Yasyavai shruyamanayam. We just have to hear. Then if we hear about Krishna, what will happen? Like for example, from my childhood I heard about Sachin Tendulkar. I never saw him. Frankly, I never saw him. But because everyone became fan of Sachin Tendulkar, I was thinking, oh, he's a great man. But how did it happen? Just by hearing. Yasyavai shruyamanayam. Same concept. But concept has to be redirected. Instead of hearing about Sachin Tendulkar, Prime Minister Modi, or any other Bollywood star, or any other person, then what we have to do? Yasyave shruyamanayam. If you hear about Krishna, same simple thing, but it is difficult in the beginning stages because mind objects, mind says that don't do it. Then what will happen if you do like that? Just like we are developing affection for a Sachin Tendulkar or any great personality in this material world, naturally, without seeing him, without meeting him, naturally, like in childhood, someone asks, whom do you follow? Like I follow Sachin Tendulkar, something like that. Of course, he's so fortunate that we are reciting his name in the temple. But why I am telling him is that how we develop affection for some person just by hearing about the person. Bhagavatam also talks about that. Just by hearing about a person, glories of a person. Of course, what they glories about is ordinary persons. Simple thing, he just strikes the ball here like that. But just by that we get so much attraction. So, and we want to dedicate our life. And you know, right, in South India, people have constructed temples for Jayalalitha, no, Rajnikant, and even North India, Amitabh Bachchan. You see, people go to such extent. How? Most of them would not have met. But just by hearing about that person, they develop so much affection, they are building temples and worshipping him. Recently, when I was in office, one person suddenly in the meeting told, I don't know, suddenly no way the topic came. So, have you heard of jailer? I was thinking, what is this jailer? So later I understood. So people are so mad that on the first day itself they wanted to see, hearing. Why? How? Just by hearing about that person, they are developing affection. Of course, that is temporary. Yasyavai shruyamanayam Krishna paramapurushe. Then, if we divert that object to Krishna, what will happen? Then we will understand Krishna paramapurushe. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. We don't know now. We don't know. Even if you may theoretically accept, we don't implement that in our life at every moment of our life. That happens. Then Krishna Paramapurusha. Yasyavai Shruyamanayam Krishna Paramapurusha. Then what will happen? Bhakti Rutpadete Pumsam. In all the living entities, especially in the human beings, Pumsam. What will happen? Bhakti, loving feelings, loving devotion for Krishna arises. Bhakti Rutpadete Pumsam Utpadete. So that is how devotees association is very important. Why? Because we get a chance to hear about Krishna in this association. Then what will happen? We don't have any bhakti or devotion. So whatever we are chanting, So that is because of the other devotees association. We should never mistake that, oh, now I'm chanting 16 months. By my own strength I can chant. You please get out of the association for 1 month and try. Then you will understand. So by the strength of the devotees association we are able to perform. That's why what is Bhakti Utpade Pumsam. That Utpade, it will sprout in our heart. Bhakti comes from devotee, not by reading, not by doing alone anything. Bhakti comes from devotee. Because the devotee has a devotion, that devotion is transmitted. All of you, anyone from electronics background here, right? So how signals get transmitted? There's a signal generator, modulation, amplification, so much. From there, signal gets transmitted. Okay. So from devotee, devotion gets transmitted. That's how potent devotion is. A simple thing we have to do. Of course, in my previous session I did how we should hear also. I will not touch upon it now. So then, what is the secondary factor that will happen? Shoka, Moha, Bhaya, Apaha. What are the three things will go away? Automatically will go away. Shoka, lamentation. Everyone laments in this material world. Whether someone is intelligent, unintelligent, poor, rich, everyone laments. I also lamented in my life. So, when you get a good mark, good score, when next time when you don't get, hi, I could not get lamentation. I could have done that thing to get that. Everyone laments in this material world. Even though he may be the Elon Musk also. He also laments. Shoka, Moha. Everyone is in illusion that I am this body. And this body and everything related to my body is mine. Aham, mameti. So that's a great deep rooted desire. And that's why there's a saint in Karnataka says, not in that is in Kannada, I don't remember the Kannada, I don't know Kannada. Agar मैं जाऊंगा तो मैं जाऊंगा. Means if I goes, then I go. Understood? No, right? I means ego, that ego of I-ness, that goes away, then I go back to Krishna's ego. If I go, then I go. So he's a Kannada saint actually. He said like that. That's a deep-rooted desire, illusion, moha, that I am this body and everything belongs to me and I want to be the proprietor, enjoyer. Moha, bhaya, fear. Bhayam ditya vinivesha tasyat. Bhaya, fear. Everyone is fearful. Everyone is fearful. Fearful of losing job, fearful of laying off, fearful of so many other things. Fearful of not getting the top score. Because when you are the top scorer in your class, every time an exam comes, it's always a fear. In office also. Everywhere, that fear is there. So many things are there. But just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, attentive hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, what will happen? First thing, devotion for Lord Krishna sprouts in our heart. Loving devotion. Second thing, which is a what? Secondary effect. Shoka, Moha and Bhaya will go away. So actually these go away. What else for us to be suffered about? Nothing. So that then mind will be very peaceful, full of happy. Then that Manaso Mahotsavam, that will happen. But for that endeavor is required. Nothing will come free of cost. Nothing will come free of cost. We have to put endeavor. What is the put endeavor? We have to show that eagerness. Yes, Krishna, I want to hear about you. I want to attend your things. But if you don't hear about Krishna, what will happen? What will happen? So Bhagavatam is a very practical thing that deals with us. Of course, Bhagavatam talks about both conceivable and inconceivable things. But there are some conceivable things which we can relate in our life. If you don't hear about Krishna, what will happen? There are only two options. Either Krishna or Maya. That's why Parikshit Maharaj was told by Sukadeva Goswami, Shrota Vyadini Rajendra Nanam Santi Sahasrasa Apashyata Madhva Tattvam Griheshu Gruhamedina. Bhagavatam, actually Sukadeva Goswami starts with these verses. Can you imagine the entire first canto over Parikshit Maharaj asked two questions, but Sukadeva Goswami starts with condemning the material world, condemning about the nature of the human being. They are interested in hearing about So many things. Nunam Santi Sahasrasa. Thousands and thousands of topics are there. Politics, cricket, movies, criticism. So many concepts are finance, social, economic, political condition, everything, so many things. That's why how many, at least in my childhood, only one news channel used to be there, Doordarshan. Only news will be only one time. Maybe in the morning, sometime, afternoon one time, evening one time. Because Doordarshan never used to broadcast 24 hours a day. They also used to have off. But now 24 by 7 channels, 24 by newspapers. I don't know how people are bombarded with so much nonsense information. What will happen? Apashyatam Atma Tattvam. Everything is devoid of self. And what is going to happen? Aham Mameti is already strong. Then by hearing that, then we get attached more and more to this material world. And will be Punarapi Mararam, Punarapi Jananam. Will be caught up in the cycle of birth and death. There is no nectar in hearing about the news of this material world. So rather, just we have to divert our attention to the news of this spiritual world. So we should be very, very careful. Selective hearing. We should never keep our ears to any nonsense concepts. Why? Because any concept you hear from anyone, then that gets deep rooted in our heart. So, saying this, how Kunti Maharani is praying. Kunti Maharani is live broadcasting. See, none of us have seen Supreme Lord. Yes? Maybe some of you, I don't know. I have not seen Supreme Lord. Yes, I have seen Supreme Lord in Archa Vigraha. But I have not Supreme Lord in his personal feature. Yes, Archa Vigraha is also not different from Krishna. So saying that, I am saying, personally I have not seen Krishna. But here is one devotee, Kunti Maharani. She's relaying what is about, what does mean by Krishna. Prayers. She's not praying. If we pray, if anyone prays, God prays, oh Krishna, or any demigod, I am struggling with so many problems, my job is in a very difficult state, Krishna. Can't you do something? Can't you do something? I am struggling, I am practicing devotional service. But are you there or not? people get this doubt. And after practicing devotional service, people leave also. That is also there. So that's why, without hearing Bhagavata, Bhagavad Gita properly learning, then what happens? All of us may be performing devotional service, but all misconceptions are there in her. Samshayatma, what? Vinashyati. So, why classes are important? To remove our samshaya. How samshaya will be removed? When you hear and when you get question. If you are hearing, if you don't get question, then how samshaya will be solved? Either you don't have samshaya or full of samshaya. So we should ask question. Entire Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is like that. So Kunti Maharani is relaying information. Not information, actually her practical experience. This is not simple knowledge what she is telling. Her practical experience, being a Bahu, she is aunt of Krishna, she is glorifying Krishna. Obviously, right, if any senior has to glorify junior, that is in an awkward position. That's why one who is in a guru position, he never praises a disciple. Why? It is very embarrassing. Is it or not? But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to offer obeisances to every one of his disciples. Why? Because, of course, his mood is different. What is the mood? If everyone is offering obeisances to me, I may feel that I am a great Acharya. So that's why disciples stopped offering obeisances in front of him only. They used to offer obeisances from back so that we will not give any discomfort to our spiritual master. So Kunti Maharani, obviously, Krishna is a nephew, but she is offering obeisances to Krishna, so that she will not do such kind of mistake. So generally we know that Krishna is so great, God is so great. But how God is so great? How God is so great? That is personally explained by Kunti Maharani in these verses. She is giving so much wonderful experience of her that she is telling the greatness of Krishna. If we want to be attracted to some person, what we need? We need to understand the greatness of the person. Then only what will happen? we'll naturally get attracted to the person. So simply knowing God is great is not sufficient. We need to know the God's greatness. That is very, very important. So to offer prayers also we need some data or information. Otherwise, how do we offer? Otherwise, we will only tell our own problems. But Kunti Maharani is sharing her own experience. She is expressing her emotion. So now, what does mean by God is so great? What does God mean so great? So Parama Purusha and his characteristics are there. If you see in these two verses, she is mentioning Vidambanam. Vidambanam means she is bewildered by the characteristics of Supreme Lord. Anyone bewildered by seeing us? Maybe only one bewilderment they may get is, he wears dhoti, kanti, tilak, everything. Appears like a sadhu, but he goes out, behaves like an animal. So that may be the bewilderment for ordinary people. But what Kunti Maharani is expressing, the bewilderment is different. That's why this word is used, Vidambana. Why? Krishna has a contradictory qualities. What are the contradictory qualities? In our life, we will not have contradictory qualities. What are the contradictory qualities? He has. Krishna has. So in the second verse, 31st verse, what Kunti Maharani is telling that even though Krishna is the supreme controller, Janma Jasyataha, Avigna Swarat, is a independent supreme lord, is absolute truth. Whatever he does is a law. Whatever he does is a law. There's no one can stop him from doing anything. But such supreme lord, even though he is a supreme controller, but what's happening? He is controlled by Mother Yashoda. Such a contradictory quality. This is like 180 degrees opposite. On one side is a supreme controller, and other side is a control. How those two will fit together? That's why she is getting bewildered. She is not giving answer. She is saying that I am bewildered by this kind of characteristic of God. Don't you think this is a greatness of God? So God is great, but what is His greatness? This is His greatness. He has opposite qualities. None of us have. Either we are soft, like either we are humble or we are harsh. Is it or not? We don't have both simultaneous qualities. That's why one who is very humble, he goes to office also, he wants to be in that kind of, because it's very difficult for us to maintain that opposing qualities. So, control. And then, on the other hand, scriptures are saying all the demigods are controlled by him. So, we'll come back also. But, what is happening? But, Krishna, demigods are controlled, means they are fearful of Krishna. But here, Krishna is fearful of Mother Yashoda. That's why she is holding the stick, and then Krishna was crying. And then Janmashtami. You see, Janmashtami, we are celebrating Janmashtami. Does Krishna has a birth? No. He doesn't take birth, but we are celebrating Janmashtami. So she is also expressing her Vidambanam, her bewilderment. How both things can be together in that kind of person. Every day we sing Narsimhati. What do we sing? Ito Narsimha, Parato Narsimha. And then Bahir Narsimha, Hruday Narsimha. How both? If I am here, I am not outside. If I am outside, I am not inside. So you see contradictory qualities. And not only that, Krishna is a soft like a lotus flower, and every of body parts of Krishna are compared to soft lotus flower. But at the same time, is like a thunderbolt. When he gives a that channel must be gone. So, like that. So, how is it possible? Softness and the thunderbolt nature? No. In us, it is not either we are soft or little hard only. So, this contradictory quality is making Kunti Maharani bewildered. So, you are able to say, right, what is greatness of Krishna? The one of the greatness of Krishna is not only supreme controller, Avigna Swarat, but he has a opposing quality that makes Krishna great. This is what, Mayavadis, what happens, this impersonalist Mayavadis, they who ultimately feel Krishna as a Nirakar, formless. They feel because of this reason, also one of these reasons, that this kind of opposing qualities we have never experienced in this material world or in any person. So that means definitely a person who is bound by a form will not have such kind of qualities. So definitely God must be ultimately Nirakar. Because anyone who is born by certain form, he cannot have this kind of qualities. Why? In our experience, we have never experienced. In our experience, we never have experienced such kind of contradictory qualities. That's why impersonalists they get bewildered. So that's why no, we should hear Shabda Praman. If you go on speculating just like impersonalists, Mayavadis, they ultimately arrive at that, oh, in our experience it is not there, so God is ultimately Nirakar. That's why speculative method is highly rejected in our scripture. The only way that is to hear from bona fide sources. So this is how so interesting about Krishna. So when we get more attracted, when we hear more about the qualities of Krishna, we naturally get attracted to Krishna and then we want to love him. Just like a woman or man naturally get attracted. So similarly, a living entity actually has a natural attraction for Krishna that is now bound up by this illusory, you can say, this body. So that's why in Bhagavad Gita Krishna talks about this. What it says? Janma karma chame divyam. What is meant by divyam? This is called divyam. Transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. Tattvadeha punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So Janma karma, the appearance, the birth of Krishna, the activities of Krishna are divyam, transcendental. So now we are able to understand in Bhagavad Gita. See, Bhagavad Gita gives a preliminary knowledge. What is meant by divyam? We may get very little understanding from Bhagavad Gita. But in Bhagavatam, that is given in a very elaborate manner. Divyam means, what is divyam? This is called divyam of Krishna, transcendental nature of Krishna. The opposing qualities are Janma karma chame divyam. But evam yoveti tattvataha. So when we understand this in truth, tattvataha, then what happens? Tyaktva deham punarjanma. Then when we leave this body, we will not be able to come out of this. We will not again come back to this material world. Simply chanting Hare Krishna. So, because then we are not understood in Tattvataha. So that's why what is required? Endeavor is required. Sumedasaha. Most intelligent people can only take up this path. Why? Great endeavor is required to understand Krishna in truth, in Tattvataha. If we don't try to understand, delve into the mystery of Janma and Karma of Krishna, our contradictory qualities of Krishna, our mind naturally gets attracted to the mysteries of this material world or some nonsense of this material world. So I said only two options, either Krishna or Maya. If you are not delving into analyzing these mysterious appearance and activities of the Lord, then we get naturally attracted to this material world. So that's why we should read in such a way or learn in such a way that to understand the nature of Krishna in Tattvataha, in truth. So that's why we should never be lazy. We should never be lazy in understanding Tattvataha. So most of you are feeling sleepy. And you know, Tattvataha means everyone feels sleepy. So in Tattvataha also Chaitanya Charitamrita describes so many tattvas, Krishna tattva, Rasa tattva, Leela tattva. There are 6 items are there, Bhakti tattva. So you see, do you want to learn all of them? So much to go. Is it or not? Never ever think that no, I chanting 16 rounds, done. I have read little bit, I know something about soul. Yes. My life is perfection, Prabhu. I have achieved perfection. So, please don't think like there's so much to learn. Even you learn, then you'll understand. The more you learn, the more you try to practice, then you'll understand. Yes, Prabhu, really, actually, I have not even learned about a drop in the ocean. That's why we call Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sindhu and then Bindu. There's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. So he says that I cannot explain about Sindhu, let me take only drop. So I will explain you the drop. So by just tasting this drop, you can understand the greatness of the Sindhu. So you see, we have no depth of learning or growing in devotion, progressing in devotional service. Don't be confused in saying that no, I am satisfied with this in my life. No. Kunti, do you want to experience like Kunti Maharani or not? Kunti Maharani is directly experienced. She is not quoting from Shastra. She is directly presenting in front of Krishna when Krishna was about to leave Dwaraka. So we should learn in Tattva. So Janmashtami is for that purpose. Of course, one of the important purposes of Janmashtami, we want to attract so many conditioned living entities. But for us, what is important? While doing service, we want to understand Krishna in Tattvataha. For that only, we should learn, we should read nicely. Okay? So, then only what happens? We can never come back to this material world. And she is also expressing in her own prayer. What is the prayer? She is saying, Namaste Purusham Twadamishwaram Prakriti Param Alaksham Sarvabhutanam Antarbahir Avasthitam. One of the contradictory quality of Krishna. Krishna says, I am there everywhere. Alaksham Sarvabhutanam. I am there in every living entity. Antarbahir Avasthitam, outside and inside. But we are not able to see. We are not able to see. This is a contradictory quality. That's why it doesn't fit into our experience. What doesn't fit? I am seeing Pranjay Prabhu here. I am seeing him. But Kunti Maharani is telling that I see him outside also, inside also, but he is not visible. Alaksham. So she is bewildered. You see what kind of prayer she is doing? We go and want to solve our problem. But she is saying, she is expressing her bewilderment. Krishna, I am not able to understand your nature. So that's why after reading all the scriptures, we will come to the conclusion that, yes, Krishna, I understood now 100%. That means full number 1. So after learning everything, one need to understand that I can never understand Krishna 100%. That's why he is infinite. Om Purnamada Purnamidam is complete, perfect, infinite. So infinitesimal jiva can never understand fully about it. We can understand, it's not that, but fully about infinite, because we are infinitesimal. He is infinite. Can an infinitesimal can ever approach towards infinity? So only one thing we can know completely about, one thing with relationship with Krishna is, that is our relationship with Krishna. We can get the full knowledge. But to understand complete contradictory qualities of Krishna, greatness of Krishna, then that's why Tadeva Ramyam Ruchiram Navam Navam. The more you are learning, then you will say, oh, Krishna is so great. Krishna is so great. Krishna is so sweet. Krishna is so sweet. So now Kunti Maharani, you may say she may be faking also. Because when I was studying in my college, one of the person who is already, Brahmana family, he already knew about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I also, along with him, I used to go to the sessions. But every day we used to attend in our college. Because our teacher used to teach every day Bhagavatam class. We used to go. And he used to come for a few sessions, and then later he said, I don't believe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Lord. I am a new, at least he knew something. So I am a blank slate. I don't, because being from South India, I never knew anything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's like a blank slate. So he was giving so many arguments. Definitely these followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu must have failed. Otherwise, why would they say, obviously, even in political world also, someone is there, then he will have pay money and then have his followers. Especially you will see during elections. Then they pay money and then glorify me. So, but these literatures are not like fake glorifications. So my friend, he got bewildered and said, and there was one senior devotee, he was telling to me, I don't know from where this came. So he was warning, he was not worried about that person. He was worried about me. So you don't hear from him what he's speaking is little, not truth. And then he has shared me so many verses. At that time, who reads the verses? So I got the verses, but somehow I don't know for what reason I just continued. So Kunti Maharani is not faking. She is sharing her own practical experience. That's why Bhagavad Gita is called Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam. Bhagavad Gita is one can experience directly. It takes time to experience directly. So that's why we need to practice. Directly one can experience. Here Kunti Maharani is experiencing directly, and then she is expressing. Like if I am seeing Vibham Prabhu, do I have to do some analysis or some knowledge or quote something to tell what is my observation experience? No. So Kunti Maharani is naturally expressing. But what is her experience is, she is bewildered by the experience. Vidambanam. So this is interesting because Krishna has contradictory qualities. But now, what is the proof that she is not faking? What is the proof? So now, Krishna is about to leave to Dwaraka from Hastinapur. And Kunti Maharani, everyone is there. And suddenly, who came? Running. Uttara. She's running. And then she came in front of Krishna. Oh Krishna, please protect. Very nice verse. Pahi Pahi Mahayogi Deva Deva Jagat Prate. You know, anyone knows? Yes, please recite. Huh? Pahi Pahi Mahayogi Deva Deva Jagat Prate. Nanyam Tvad Abhayam Pashe. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. Oh Krishna, in this situation, no one can protect me. Pahi Pahi, please protect. So now please, I will come back to this protect also. She is not protecting to relieve her of suffering because I started with that only. Pahi Pahi Mahayogi, Deva Deva Jagatpate. You are Jagatpati. You are the master of entire creation. Then, Nanyam Tad Abhiyam Pashe. There is no one else apart from you. Yatra Mrityu Parasparam. I am going through this situation. Brahmastra is coming. Brahmastra is more powerful than a nuclear weapon. You know, even now, Ukraine and Russia, they are fighting, throwing, weapons, bombs. But nuclear weapon is nowhere in front of Brahmastra. And the speciality of Brahmastra, you might have heard that it only attacks only the target, not like everyone. So if you throw any missile or anything, what happens? Within a radius, it causes devastation. But Brahmastra is a very powerful weapon. You see how modern science is very inferior compared to the Vedic science. We may boast ourselves that we have advanced so much. No. We are advanced so much that we are creating within the radius, whether children, women, old age, cows, everything. But Ashwatthama has released target only to kill Parikshit. So now Kunti Maharani is saying she is in front of Krishna, and the Brahmastra is coming, and Uttara is running and says, please protect me. Of course, she is not asking you, if you want, you can kill my life. I don't have any problem. But please protect this Parikshit. So you see, that's how pure devotion. Pure devotion service, right? This Dhritarashtra also prays that. Nanaka prishtam nachaparamestyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam na yoga siddhi apunar bhavamba. Krishna, if you like, you may relieve me from the cycle of birth and death. If you tell in the beginner's class, they will be afraid. Don't tell. So, this is a serious session, that's why. Apunar bhavam. If you want, you can relieve me, otherwise you can keep me. That's why Bhaktivinoda, our acharyas pray. Better, if you want to give me birth, don't give birth as a Brahma, but as a kukur, dog in a devotee's family. You see, the pure devotion is a very, very high standard of devotion. So, to reach that state, it takes, again, effort. If nothing comes magically. Please do understand. If you are thinking magically something comes in life, and chanting, no, everything will come. No, nothing will happen like that. You have to put endeavor. So, are you ready to understand the mystery of Krishna or not? Now you have to decide. You may say, yes, Prabhuji. Yes, everyone will say, because everyone has to raise their hand. So, no, you have to ask yourself, are you ready to unveil the mysteries of Krishna, to understand the greatness of Krishna? In Tattvataha, you please see to yourself. In the initial stage, someone will say, Prabhu, come. But after certain days, you have to ask, Prabhu, can you help me? I am not able to understand this. I am not able to grow. I am stagnated. You see, it's a mutual thing. So, Kunti Maharani is expressing her direct experience. So, eventually, when we are practicing, we will also reach the state of seeing Krishna face to face. Bhagavatam is assuring. Brahmaji is able to shake hands with Krishna. Just like Kunti Maharani is seeing Krishna. Yashodhamaya is binding Krishna. We can eventually reach that state. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give us, tell us that why are you rotting in this material world? Why don't you dedicate your life to Krishna, understand his mysteries? So, and Narsindev. So, Hiranyakashipu tortured Prahlad Maharaj like anything. But he says, after all frustration, there's a very nice place, entire seventh canto is dedicated to that. One time, after frustration, he asked, you say, Prahlad, your Lord is everywhere. Bahir Narsimho, Hruday Narsimho, Maya Tatam Idam Sarvam, I am there everywhere. Jagad Avyakta Murtina. Krishna is there everywhere. Prahlad is always preaching to his father. But now Hiranyakashipu finally asked, is your father, original father, is there in this pillar? Prabhu was also showing that. So this pillar is famous. So is your father, your original father, is there in this pillar? Your Supreme Lord is there in this pillar. So actually, before Prahlad Maharaj could say that, he saw nursing there inside it. He already saw. So when devotees are speaking, they are seeing it, expressing. Like if you see our Acharya Rupa Goswami, he has composed so many books. He was directly seeing the pastimes of Golok Vrindavan, and he was writing. Like our Prabhu, Venkat Prabhu asked this question, what happens in the spiritual world Prabhu? Is there something happens, or is it written somewhere or not? Yes, Rupa Goswami is directly seeing the pastimes of Golok Vrindavan, of the spiritual world, and is writing. This is like a direct relay. For this, any effort is required? No, he's directly seeing, but of course that qualification is required to see that. So, yes, so like that, Prahlad Maharaj saw Nrsimhadev already within the pillar, and he says, yes, my Lord is there in this one. I am not just faking, he's there everywhere. Yes, I see him. But for us it's a Vidambanam. For Kunti Maharaj is also Vidambanam. She is expressing her bewilderment. Yes, he's there inside, or he's outside, or he's everywhere. Where is he? Again, Mayavadis get confused. If he's inside also, outside also, everywhere also, how a person can be there? Can any one of you be there everywhere? No? Possible, right? No. Contradictory quality. No, we can't be there. So she got bewildered. And Prahlad Maharaj saw Nrsimhadev. And then when he hits that pillar, what happens? Big, huge roar of lion he heard. He was not able to understand from where it came. Then, Satyam Vidatum Nijavritya Vashitam Vyapincha Bhuteshu Akhileshu Chatmana Adrishtaya Atyadbhuta Rupa Mudram Sthambe Sabayam Na Mrugam Na Manasham. So, Satyam Vidatum Nijavritya Vashitam, to make his servant words truth. What happened? Krishna came out as Lord Namugam Na Manasham. Satyam Vidatum Nrijamritya Bhashit. Not only Prahlad Maharaj's words, but to also make the words of Brahma. Because Brahma, he was forced to give the benediction. So to fulfill, when Krishna does, he simultaneously does multiple activities. In the modern world called multitasking. We may do multitasking, but at a time we will only do one task. Because we may switch windows. CPU scheduling also happens. When the multitasking, if you see how operating system is evolved, there is a scheduler. Because I work for chipset company, so I know there is a scheduler which plays a very, very important role. How a scheduler gives a time slot to each of the tasks. Once this task is done, if it is waiting for some resource, put them into sleep. Then next resource, then next, like that. But at a time only one thing. But when Krishna does, he does really multitasking. One action, but multiple effects. Like Lord Ramachandra's pastime through this air also. He is there everywhere. Satyam Vidatum Nijavritya Vashitam. Just to fulfill the words of two of his servants, Prahlad Maharaj and Brahma. Vyaptincha Bhuteshu Akhileshu Chatman, is there everywhere in every living entity. Every living entity. Vyaptincha Bhuteshu Akhileshu Adrishtaya Atyadbhuta Rupam Sthambe Sabhayam Na Mrugam Namanasham. So Krishna came out of the pillar as Lord Nrsimha. So if you see like that, entire Bhagavatam explains about the greatness of Krishna. But to understand the greatness of Krishna, by ourselves when we read, we don't understand. So that's why what is required? The devotees' association is required. Because they see, they heard from their teachers, they see and then they'll give them that vision, oh, yes, this is the greatness of Krishna. Can any one of us come out of the pillar? No. You write Janmashtami. So please, Tattvataha, understand, try to understand in truth. Then what happens? then we will not come back again to this material world. So like that, if you go on speaking, then so many things are there in Bhagavatam like that. But one most important thing now, because in the 31st verse, what we read today, Yashodamaya is binding Krishna. So in Bhagavatam second canto it comes, Aparna samshrutim goram ennamo gunan sada kato vimucheta yad bibeti swayam bhayam. Such a wonderful shloka. Yad bibeti swayam bhayam. He says even Yamaraj is fearful of Krishna. Yamaraj is fearful of. Is there anyone who is not afraid of Yamaraj? Everyone is afraid of Yamaraj. You know, people are so much afraid of Yamaraj that at the time of death, they leave stool and urine behind them and then they leave the body. Just by seeing Yamadutas, one gets so afraid. What to speak of that one at the time of death, even while staying in this material world, everyone lives with fear. But Yamaraj, who is giving fear to everyone in this material world, what is happening? He is making, even he is also afraid of Krishna. Yad bibeti swayam bhayam. So this, of course, this is the nice glorification of holy name. Just by chanting the holy name. Tata sadho vimuchita. 1 minute. So, tata sadho vimuchita. Apanna samshrutim goram. Ennama vivaso bruhan. Vivaso means even unconsciously also when one chants the holy name of Krishna, what happens? Then he need not to be fear of Yamaraj. He can be relieved from the clutches of the cycle of birth and death. So that's so powerful, this holy name, that every day we are trying to chant. So which is the blessing of Srila Prabhupada. So we need to understand this greatness of the holy name and Supreme Lord, and then we should distribute. So this is also how we have to prepare Janmashtami, because we may be going out, but are we having that mood actually to connect people, to give them the holy name, to give them this greatness of Krishna? Okay, we should always meditate that. So not only that, our scripture says that Mad Bhayat Yati Vati Vatoyam Surya Stapati Mad Bhayat and Varsha Tindro Dahatyagni Mrityu Sharati Mad Bhayat. You see Krishna. Like, in yesterday one of our Bhakti Vriksha session, one of the members saying Krishna is so proud person. He is filled with pride. Every time he says Aham, I, Mat. What kind of Matta Bharataram Nanet? So he must be definitely a person filled with pride. Here also Krishna is telling Mad Bhaya, entire world, entire creation. This wind god is flowing, wind is flowing because of me. Fire is burning because of me. Indra is showering rains because of me. You see, Mad. Can you imagine if everyone said, yes? For example, I am not saying Harikshetra Prabhu will do. If Harikshetra Prabhu said, this entire ISKCON Whitefield is running because of me, obviously he is the person behind it. But any person who hears without understanding will feel, "Arey, ye to zyada bol rahe." He must be definitely bahut zyada. So definitely one will feel. If I say, no, like if I see you, it's entire thing is happening because of me. Every employee understands, "Hey Baba, I am also doing." So you see, Krishna is speaking like that. What happens generally, people get bewildered. But this is true. Mad Bhayat means it is not out of a general kind of fear that people fear, like if I don't go to office, if I don't work, I will not get salary. Not that kind of fear. Krishna is not paying any salary to any of his demigods. But they are fearful of one important thing. What is that fear? What is that fear? Anyone knows? What is the fear by which they are forced to work? Anyone understand? I hope you have heard this shloka, right? No? Any guess? No guess? Obviously, because only fear means that fear is only there. Either money or something. Fear of what? Fear of displeasing Krishna. This is the greatest fear they have. Oh, if I don't, sun feels that sun god, if I don't come on time, Krishna may be displeased. If wind says, I will stop blowing, then they will feel that Krishna may feel displeased. So, just because of this fear of not displeasing Krishna, that is the trigger. That is the trigger for them to do their services. So, it's a good fear. We should have fear. It's not that we become fearless in the sense material fear, but we should have a fear, the fear of displeasing devotees, fear of displeasing Krishna. Then what happens? Then whatever service we take up and we do, when we do with alertness, carefulness, because after some time everything may become mechanical. So we should have that fear of that displeasing Krishna. But even if you take literal sense also, everyone is afraid of Krishna. Yamaraj is afraid of Krishna. And of course, Yamaraj is a devotee of Krishna. How a pure devotee loves Krishna, not fearful of Krishna. Yamaraj, one of the Mahajan. He will not be afraid of Krishna, but he is afraid of displeasing Krishna. But that Krishna, who is binding? Mother Yashoda is binding. This is bewildering to whom? Kunti Maharani. Obviously, right? If everyone is controlled by a particular person and he is also fearful, then definitely he must not be the Supreme Lord. In a Tattva Vichar, what do we say? Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Anadi means he doesn't have any beginning. Is it true? In other sense, it doesn't true also, right? He takes birth from Mother Devaki. So you see, these are all contradictory qualities. So these contradictory qualities, one of the greatness of Krishna. So now that Krishna is bounded by Mother Yashoda, and there is entire glorification of that Krishna. So what is that glorification? We eventually go to that Kartik month. So this is what Satyavrata Mani is also glorifying Krishna. Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Viyolu Kaladavamanam Paramrishtamatyanta Todrutagopya Rudantarmoho Netra Yudmamrijantam Parambuja Yudmena Satam Panetam Mushwasakam Patrirekanta Sittagraivam Damodaram Bhaktivadram. You see how sweet prayer? Satyavrata Mani composed this prayer and Kunti Maharani is expressing her bewilderment. That how can Krishna, the supreme controller, even demigods are afraid of Krishna, that Yashoda Maya could bind Krishna. And he said, Rudanta Mohor Netram. It's so bewildering. Even if you hear that, Rudanta Mohor, we have small child, 1.5 years, Subhadra, when she cries almost like that. So, we can connect everything to Krishna actually. Rudanta Mohor Netram is so perfect dramatist. Perfect dramatist is crying like a child. And it's not like a drama. When he cries, he really cries. Rudanta Mohor Netram Yugmam Rujanta, with his two hands is rubbing and mascara, that ointment, kajal, is there. That is it's like rubbed off and here the marks, when he cries, and when the child cries, what happens? That comes down. And Krishna is so beautiful in that form. Rudanta Mohor Netra Yugmam Rujantam Karamboja Yugmena Satam Kanetra. Then Muhushwasa is crying like that, is really crying. This entire this is like a conch shell. The throat is moving. When a child cries, most of you may not have experienced. Maybe your brothers or small, when you were young, you might have seen. Otherwise, you can see some children of our devotees, you can see when they cry. So it's almost crying like that. Can you imagine? The Supreme Lord is saying that all the demigods are afraid of me, and he's crying by seeing the stick of Mother Yashoda. You can say, hey, Mother Yashoda, I am the Supreme Lord, why are you showing stick? But he's not saying. Krishna, that's why it's a contradictory quality. People see that, yesterday one person was telling about that Krishna has that pride attitude. How Krishna is saying, I. But have you heard of this thing? That Krishna is even the Supreme Lord, he wants to be controlled by his devotees. And Bhagavad Gita starts with that page only. Krishna became the chariot driver of Arjuna. Can't you see that? Krishna, the Supreme Lord, became the chariot driver of Arjuna. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, was bound by Mother Yashoda and is crying, literally crying. And every description is there. What kind of kundala he will wear? Conch shell. What is it? Bhushwasa kampa, 3 rekam kanta. So you see Satyavrat Muni, how detailed way the bewilderment of Kunti Maharani is captured in this bhajan. So after hearing this, if you are still attracted to the nonsense Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood songs, which are useless songs, they don't have any substance. What is that substance? Dharma projita kaitavatra paramo nirmatsaranam sata vedyam vastav atra vastu, substance. There is no substance in this song, but real substance is here. Krishna consciousness. That substance is there. Do you want the real substance or fake substance, which is glamorously covered by some very wonderful covering? You please decide. So, atra vastu. So it starts, first canto, first chapter starts with that kind of shloka. So, how is it possible? So, we have only 5 minutes, so I will just conclude on this. How is this possible that such kind of contradictory qualities in Krishna? So, you please understand. So many pastimes are in Bhagavatam to explain this secret. This is called mystery. That's why mysterious appearance, mysterious activities of the Supreme Lord. Govardhan Leela, entire 10th canto. That's why 10th canto, to read 10th canto, one should read 9 cantos to understand. Otherwise, because every pastime is so intricate, our acharyas have given commentaries after commentaries. Vishwanath Chakravarti has given commentary on 10th canto, Jiva Goswami has given commentary on 10th canto. So intricate pastimes to explain every act of Krishna. Why is he doing? In Krishna book also Prabhupada explained why he has closed his eyes when he saw Putana. When I saw for the first time, how I could not understand why so many explanations. Why I don't know why Prabhupada has explained, but now I am able to little bit grasp. Yes, every act of Krishna is a mysterious. There are so much details into it. So in conclusion, the contradictory qualities fit into the same person, and Krishna exhibits that qualities because Krishna wants to be overpowered by the love of his devotees. Krishna wants to be overpowered by the love of his devotees. So that's why what is the goal of our life? Sadhya Prema Pumato Mahan. Every day we recite after that, right? Goal of our life is Krishna Prema. Because when one gets a Krishna Prema, Krishna gets controlled. That's why Krishna Prema doesn't come so easily. We have, but that is not revived so easily because Krishna comes under the control of such devotees. Mother Yashoda could control Krishna. So that is the goal of our life, Krishna Prema. So if we want to also bind Krishna, then we have to revive our love for Krishna. And gopis, when Krishna goes to forest of Vrindavan, they feel that, oh, Krishna may be, hurt by the pebbles. Then Ghosts of Vrindavan also felt that. And they're feeling, no, Krishna's body is so soft, so delicate that throughout the day they are thinking that whether Krishna is hurt, like that. Can Krishna be hurt by anyone? Kamsa, Agasur, Putana, so many asuras came. They could do something to Krishna? No. But gopis, on the other hand, they are feeling, oh, Krishna may get hurt by small pebbles. Because Krishna doesn't wear chappal in Vrindavan. So, out of love for Krishna, so what happens? Even the Supreme Lord, who is the source of everything, comes under the control of his devotees. So, this is the Vidambanam actually. Otherwise, one cannot explain. So, pure devotional service helps us to take us towards that goal of love of Krishna. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So holy names is the means by which we get the love for Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give that love. Anarpita Charim Chirag Karunayavatina Kalav. Okay, now I am holding my discussion. Anyone of you have any questions or comments? We can take one or two.
Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for such an amazing class. You gave insight that how we cannot understand Krishna is so bewildering, and how all the pastimes of the Lord in Bhagavatam actually inspire us to basically understand Krishna by Tattvata. They are not just some simple pastime, but they enable us. So I have this question, some three questions I have. One of them is you mentioned that Samshaya Atma Vinashyati. So can you just explain what kind of misconceptions get cleared off when we practice devotional service? And is this bewilderment also connected to misconceptions, or misconceptions different, and what kind of misconceptions?
Ranjan Bro has a good question. So, obviously, Samshaya is different from bewilderment. Kunti Maharani understood Krishna is the Supreme Lord also, and Krishna is also controlled by Mother Yashoda. It's not that, because she's seeing that in front of her only Krishna is protecting you from Brahmastra, but she also heard of Vrindavan pastimes from devotees. So, she has a practical evidence of both things. But, how can both will fit together? Obviously, have you seen electron proton fitting together? Anyone can do like that? Can do like that? If someone feels that they can fit together, that is a bewilderment for the scientists. They can't stay together. So she has that kind of bewilderment. So confusion is, samshaya means confusion, means wrong concepts. So like, Krishna is a Nirakar, or even after understanding Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no, that still we don't have a complete faith on that. Still we are doubting devotees whether what Shastra is telling true. Initially we should doubt, obviously. That's why in our DYS or Gita course session we give that description, that how everything about, no, what we have discussed in today's session we don't discuss like that in our initial session. We give the analysis. We are giving analysis of Krishna's past, but there we give the analysis of body, soul, and how their characteristics, that kind of thing. So that thing. So what happened when we have samshaya, even after coming to devotion, and if we are keeping on suspecting whether it is true, whether they are saying true or not, whether really Krishna exists, this itself is a question. Because we are talking about a person we have not seen. We are seeing in front of a photo or a deity, we are not seeing him. But is it really true? When it is tested, everything has a test. If you accept Krishna as the Supreme Lord, as the absolute truth, there is a test. What is a test? There is going to be test. Please be prepared. Not Bhakti Shastri, not Bhakti Vairo. There is going to be a test. Test is, there will be difficulties or challenges in your life. At that time it is tested. Have you really accepted me as Supreme Lord or not? What is the Sharanagati? Anukulyasa Sankalpa Pratikulyasa Rakshishyati iti Vishwasa. We have Vishwas. We don't ask, oh Krishna, please protect me. We have that Vishwas. So now it is tested. So now when the test is gone, when we fail, what we should understand? Yes, now my practice is not sufficient. I should make the concepts clear and then understand. Understood from Samshaya between. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much on enlightening, hearing the glories of the Lord, how to get attached with Lord by hearing Him, and making a point that Lord is a controller and enjoyer. So you also said that one should know Lord. People say, I know God. God is great, you said. So how God is great, one has to know, you said this. So one has to endeavor, no? One has to endeavor. We have to endeavor, show our endeavor towards Krishna. That I am able to hear about you and know your greatness, and chanting the holy name is ultimate. So these are the points which I like. So one question it arises in my mind, just I was thinking that Krishna is hearing the glories of the Lord, glories by his devotees, then the Vedic scriptures. So those comes from affection. So how to understand this? So we are logical. So Shastras are based on logical. And then how to understand this affection? How to differentiate actually?
So can you repeat your exact question?
So
Shastras are logical.
So we should be logical in our devotional service, and sentiment follows when we progress. So how to analyze? Otherwise we'll be also simultaneously becoming sentimentalist rather than understanding Bhagavad Gita or anything logically. So how to understand that?
Yes, true. This is a progression in devotional service. There's sadhana bhakti, and like vidhi bhakti and raga bhakti. So So like in one of my earlier session I told that what is Shraddha? Anyone can remember? What is Shraddha? What is Shraddha?
By performing the devotional service, all the activities will be performed.
That is true, but practical definition. That is what he told. But what is Shraddha? Means, if someone asks what is Shraddha, you will say, I don't have any Shraddha. Shraddha, Vishwasa, Sarva Karma, Krudha. Hare Baba, what you are telling? What is Shraddha? No, Shraddha is a faith based on scriptures. Our faith is not blind faith. So when we are, that's why I said one important thing. Shastra describes both conceivable and inconceivable things. That which is conceivable, which can fit in our logic. Through logic we can analyze that. But inconceivable thing, how can you analyze through logic? Can you analyze this contradictory quality? We don't have any experience. That's why Prabhupada is telling. Through logic this we cannot. These inconceivable pastimes we cannot understand. But there are conceivable things, like when you are studying about cosmos. That also is little difficult. But when you simply see the material world, dukkha dosha anudarshanam, then you can understand, really I am going through dukkha and everyone is going through dukkha, then I can understand. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. If you stay with a person who is a deceased, then you will understand what kind of dukkha he goes. Recently our devotees, how much pain. If you see in my life also, my mother, like that so many people are there. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. You can analyze them and fit through logic. But there are inconceivable pastimes for the Lord, you cannot fit through logic, or you cannot use logic. That's why logic fails. Logic is not an ultimate thing. Logic, nyaya, they are not the ultimate praman. Actually, even in the today's verse, Prabhupada is telling even Vedic literatures, even if you are a Chaturvedi, Dvivedi, Trivedi, still you will not have love for Krishna. Because simply by studying Vedic scriptures also one cannot develop love for Krishna. What is the proof? Yajna Patnis. Brahmanas, they could not feed Krishna, but Yajna Patnis out of love. So even after reading Vedic scriptures, if one doesn't understand the essence of Vedic scriptures is to love for Krishna, then one will fail. So you see, logic will fail at certain point of time. Initially we should have, but of course, we are all in the initial stage, we should not be sentimental. So that's why Shraddha is important. Our Shraddha is not blind faith. Our Shraddha is scriptural Shraddha, scriptural faith. We need to importantly understand the difference. Our faith is not blind faith. Our faith is based on, we have a reference. Everything what I quoted today is based on some reference from Bhagavatam. That's why very important. Whatever we are doing, there should be some reference. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki Mancha Kalpatarubhishya Kripasmindu Devacha Patitanam Bhavanidya Vaishnavya.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you very much for sharing such nice insights philosophically. How we know all Krishna is great, but how Krishna is great through his contradictory qualities. You very nicely explained us, and that proved that we cannot understand Krishna completely until unless he gives his mercy. One point which I liked in the last which you mentioned, that there should be fear. So that fear is not about our material things, but the fear that I may displace the devotees, I may displace the Lord. So then our alertness to do service will be there. It's a wonderful point which I would like to take personally in my life. So thank you very much for Prabhuji. So let's thank Prabhuji one time by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
So we'll roll the mats. So we'll get ready for Guru Puja.